Hello and welcome to a new review of another deck from my collection. Today we have this Akai GX 95 deck with a look that seems to be a pioneer deck. The same black and the golden lettering. Okay, so this was a top of the line deck from Akai. They made another version 2 of this deck, the GX 95 Mark II, which was very similar, if not the same, almost the same. And this deck is today very appreciated and reaches very high prices used. It's quite easy to maintain, we'll see it a bit later. And this deck, let's go for it. It is quite a standard deck. I mean, the mechanism has all the best quality. It has the a direct drive motor, a double capstan with closed loop, and it is of course 3-head. And the heads are of this special Super GX head that some Akai decks had. Let's take a look at them. They are made of some special, I think it's like a crystal coating or something, that it's a layer in the outside that makes it very resistant to wear. You can see the double capstan there, the double pin rollers, and the recording head here. There it is. And oops, I went wrong with the thumb. And well, the deck has this motorized mechanism that closes and opens the door. It doesn't have an eject button. The eject function is made with the same stop. So if you press stop, the deck will open the door or close the door. When you close the door, the heads go up a bit. Let's try to see if I'm pressing. Let's see. I'm going to press stop, trying to show how the heads go down and the door is open. And when I press stop to close the door and insert the tape, the heads will go up instantly. And if I press play, the heads will be raised just a bit more and the play function will start. Okay, so this is I'd say a different feature. But other than that, it doesn't have anything special to it. It has the usual recording level knob, the level and bias to adjust and calibrate precisely each tape. There's a phone output here, and this is the volume control of that output. Then, as every 3-head, you can switch from here it is. You can switch from the source or from the tape. If you press tape play, it's now playing and you see what's recorded. And if you press again, it switches to source and you listen to what's being input into the deck. You have the reset and memory functions for the counter. The counter is a time one. It shows minutes and seconds, but it doesn't detect the point of the tape where you are. So you have to rely on pressing reset and rewinding the deck and pressing reset to set the real initial time of the tape. And there's this display button that hides most of the display. Oh, most? Oh, I'm amazed. Now it's blanking all the displays. Now you see. Now I'm pressing display again, and it shows the minutes and seconds. But if I press play, then it completely disappears. And if I press display, it returns to normal. That's a bit strange because I made some videos before, and when I pressed this button, I saw this, but now I see that when I press play it goes totally blank. Okay, that's new to me. Okay, so well, the usual controls of the tape, and there's this, let's switch the display on to show what the IPSS does. It switches, you press it and this lights up, and then it behaves like a CD in that you can go to a previous track or to an extra. It detects a gap in the sound, a blank, and then it starts playing the previous track or the beginning of the track, and if you press this button it will fast forward to the next track, trying to search where it is. By the head is actually sensing what's being recorded. It's not raised to the point of touching the tape, but it's enough to detect where the blank is. Now it has detected another track and it's playing it. Let's switch this off, and if I press memory it starts blinking. If I press memory again it blinks, well, it stops blinking and shows A and B. When I first pressed it started blinking the E. Now when I rewind it will go to the point where I pressed A, it will play until the point where it's B, when I press B, and it will loop continuously playing this segment of the tape. Okay, and that's it for this function, because I don't really know what the edit does by a combination of rec cancel and memory AB. I don't, maybe it blanks the tape. Let's see if I can do that. I don't know if it blanks the tape from A to B. I don't know. Okay, let's stop playing this feature. Okay, and finally these are the rest of the functions. Let's begin with the calibration. You press calibration, you press recording, you press then play. It's a way to start the recording, and when you press calibration the deck starts recording two tones. It's going mad right now. It's in, let's see if it works more or less well, because this tape sometimes goes mad because of the mechanism is not very good shape, and sometimes the tape skews. Well, you see, it records a high frequency tone and a low frequency tone. If I want to boost the level, increase the level to match the right point, I turn this knob up, and if I want to increase or reduce the high level and set a proper high level, I can turn this bias knob. When I press again calibration, it stops and switches to source. You have here the Dolby on and off B and C buttons, and you have the Dolby HX Pro, which is not common to find in decks. Well, I mean, the button is not common because most of the decks have this function always on, and only very expensive, very expensive, very modern decks had this button. Very modern, I mean from 1995 onwards, and this, which is an older deck, had it because probably at the time was a new feature and they let the user select on and off. It's not needed in some tapes, but anyway it doesn't hurt if it's always on, so this was dropped in most of the decks. The MPX filter to filter high frequency tones from radio, and this deck has two inputs. In the back side you can select which input to show to listen, and that's interesting if you wanted to feed the deck directly from your CD or your DAT tape and bypass the amplifier or the preamplifier and do a bit of a better recording. And I think that's all. It's a very tall deck, very tall deck. The rest of the measurements are okay. The depth and wide is like a normal deck, but it's very tall, and with these big feet, golden feet. And that's for all. We are now going to, well, we're now going to see the internals, which I have recorded already when I've been working on it. So here are the internals and the mechanism taken a bit apart. The deck is not so simple because there is one board below, and that's the main audio board. This is the logic board, and this is the power supply. And the logic board has another front panel board with the big beautiful display. And this is the mechanism, and the mechanism itself, it's quite nice to work on. It has this motor for the mechanism and the door. This is the fast forward and rewind motor, and here we can see the direct drive coils there, which drive this quite huge, quite big flywheel, which is linked to the other flywheel with a flat belt as usual. And this mechanism, well, I've been working with it because the take-up arm of the pinch roller was, the grease was dried, and the pinch roller didn't raise properly. And when, well, it raised until a point, but then it didn't go all the way up to the capstan. And when you pressed stop and eject, it didn't go down, making impossible to extract the tape. It was stuck at the end. And this disease has just appeared in a matter of 2 days. It worked quite well, and then as I had been working on the deck, it looks like the grease suddenly went bad. Now it's fixed, and we're going to give it a try now. So now it works very well. I can put the tape. Oops. I can put the tape, and I can now place perfect. Stop, lowers the head just a bit. You can see that the heads are still a bit inserted into the tape, and it's only when I press stop and eject that they go all the way down, and then the cassette is released. This was impossible, and I just been able to fix it a moment ago. This is the mechanism cover. I can't do it with one hand. We'll stop the tape. Okay, so here's the mechanism, and this deck doesn't need a tape to engage the play function. You can see how it works. If I stop the pinch roller, this was the faulty pinch roller, you can still see some spot of white grease that I have been using to properly lubricate all the parts. I have to clean it, of course, and when I press stop it lowers quickly, and when I press eject it goes all the way down. You can see the light of the auto stop mechanism, and the receiver is, this is the receiver, and that's the meter. And you may think that this is also a part of some auto stop mechanism, but it's not. It's simply that they made the same part for the take-up and supply reel, and they reused it here. And another thing that I replaced is the idler wheel. You can see here the exchange idler wheel. This wheel is driven by this shaft and moves from one side to another depending on the direction of the rotation, and this tire transmits the movement to this or these wheels. Reels, sorry. I can try to see if it's... Let's fast forward. Let's rewind. It will stop because of the auto stop mechanism, and play. With play, it's just that the motor is set to a lower voltage, and with fast forward it's set to a higher voltage. Here is the bottom of the deck, the lower part where the audio boards are placed. This is the main audio board with all the playback circuitry and some of the recording circuitry. And this small board, I think it's for the oscillator of the bias, and therefore this is the recording head connector, and this is the erasing cable, the erasing head cable, and this board is just for the purpose of the bias frequency and the final stage of the recording circuit. But the rest is here. That you can see there are solenoids here, probably switching from one source or one audio signal to another's. Isn't it beautiful to watch the flywheel spin? Both flywheels spinning. They are very silent. If you hear some noise, it comes from the fan in the ceiling.